Ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between, welcome to another cheery episode of A. Thompson and Other Disappointments, guys. How are you on this Friday night? Just settling in for the weekend. Kicking back is what I meant to say. Kicking back with a nice cold one of Fanta and a few ice cubes and a little bit of lemonade to keep you chilled on this most hot of evenings in this most formerly Great Britain. How are we all doing? How are the people in the live chat this evening? What's up to Brian White? Hope you're well, Brian. Hope you're keeping well. A pre-birthday wish to Diz. Happy birthday to you for tomorrow. One of our most bougie Patreons, lovers of the channel, supporter of the Binfluencer movement. What's up to Mojo? What's up to L Chaos, Trip, Sarah Davies, SG, Alex French. Lots of people in the chat tonight, guys. What's happening? What's going on? Is everybody good? Is everybody ready for another hour of barrel scraping lows? Inspiring chat about the week that we've just all lived through, that we've just all enjoyed, nay, endured once again. Because it's been another week of absolutely abysmal politics, news, and current affairs, hasn't it? So you are all cordially invited to join me for the next hour as we once again try to make sense of the senseless, light of the darkness, and of course, try to wrap the usual gallows humour around it all, guys. A bit of blitz spirit, isn't it? A bit of, we're all in this together. That sort of thing, isn't it? Which I used to say on the earlier episodes of the podcast. It's sort of the magic trick of this show. Is that everything's terrible. Everything is objectively awful. But the magic trick is that I lure you into the podcast. I lure you into an hour of me complaining about it, about the world, about how awful everything is. And then you kind of like agreeing with me starts happening because everything is inarguably awful. And then, between us, we get that sort of blitz spirit thing going on, don't we? That shared empathetic relatability. Which then you guys, this is the idea, this is a clever bit, you guys, the audience, the listeners, the viewers, you guys then confuse that empathetic relatability with having a good time. It's fun, it's funny, it's blitz spirit, we're all in this together. And then somehow that allows the channel to be explosively popular. Or that's the idea. Anyway, so what's been going on this week? Let's get into it, shall we? Once again, thanks very much, Brian White, for the super chat there. Means a lot to me. Every little helps. What's been going on out there in the formerly Great Britain this week? What stuff has happened? What things have been happening? Things and stuff like the small boats deal between Starmer and Macron. The disappearing Epstein client list. The UK's latest heat wave hitting now 34 degrees. So climate change, migration, nonsense. Greg Wallace with his pants down. It's all objectively awful stuff this week. And to top it all off, as if that wasn't enough, Justin Bieber has just released a new album, which I know. You don't need to tell me in the live chat. I know. I get it. It's like, haven't we suffered enough, guys? Haven't we had enough already? With the global heating, the climate crisis, the nonsense, the hysteria over boats, Like, do we really need it soundtracked with shit R&B as well? Do we? Is that's necessary now? Is it? What else bubbled up across your social media feeds this week? There was a lady in Australia. I don't know if you noticed this story. A lady in Australia was found guilty of poisoning her in-laws with a load of deadly mushrooms, which she stuffed into her homemade beef Wellington. I don't know if you guys saw that. There was a lady called Erin Patterson. Erin Patterson. Not going to do the accent, don't worry. And she was estranged from her husband, but she invited him and his folks over, and their brother and sister, you know, the whole family. And they all thought she was a little bit off, by all accounts. They all thought there was something a little, you know, I don't know. And the husband backs out of it. The husband decides he doesn't want to go. He's estranged anyway. But the family themselves, they're like, you know, she's a bit weird. But maybe this is just like her building bridges. Do you know what I mean? You know, maybe she is a bit strange, but maybe like if we have to have some sort of relationship with her over the coming years, you know, it's family, it's in-laws, maybe there's kids in the picture, I don't know. You know, if we have to have some sort of relationship with her, then maybe this is fine. Like, we'll just go round there. We will accept her invite. We'll just go round there for beef Wellington. The husband backs out. He's like, I don't know. Something feels weird. Something feels really off about this. So he doesn't go, but she carries on with it regardless. She cooks them all dinner. And boom, a few hours later, they are all fucking dead in a morgue. They're all on a slab, in a body bag. And it really gets you thinking, doesn't it? Really gets the old cogs in the brain going. You know, how the husband, immediately after, he must have been thinking, you know, fuck, did I make the right decision? Because like, she was always a terrible cook. You know, like maybe that's why you just think like, did I dodge a bullet? She's obviously terrible. But no, it's obviously it's very serious. This news story, you know, this sociopathic spurned wife, whatever she was. She's been found guilty now of murder, like triple murder or quadruple murder or whatever it turned out to be. I think the parents, the in-laws, and their brother and sister, I think they're all dead. I don't think any of them survived it. And people are always really shook up, aren't they? When they read about a woman who kills. You know, like it's men that kill, isn't it? It's men who are murderers, typically. Or at least that's how we interpret things. That's the perception. But it is true. Like, I did a little bit of research earlier for this. And apparently, according to global crime data, 90% of murderers are male. And only 10% are female. Which means either more men kill, more men are murderers, or the other working theory, women are just way smarter about how they fucking kill people. Like, it could be that. It could be that also. Like, I was reading the stats. I was sort of trying to make sense of it. I was like, you know, I feel like men are pretty stupid. We are kind of dumb in that way. We're not quite so like cold and, you know, what's the phrase in Shakespeare? I forget what play it is. Like, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Like, we're not as calculating when we want to. Like, we just get pissed off at someone and we pick up a bottle and lamp them round the head, you know? Or men will get jealous of their ex and they'll go and wait outside their house with a gun or something. But it's like dumb violence. It's stupid violence that you get with a man. Whereas women are like, do you know what? I think I'm going to plan this. I think, I'm not going to do this stupidly. If you're going to do something wrong, do it right. Do you know what? I think I'm going to put mercury in your tea. I think I'm going to slowly poison you. Get you out the picture that way. A smart way is what I think when you get those 10% of women. But it's only 10% of women that got caught. This is my point, guys, in the live chat. I've got an error here saying YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will be experiencing buffering. Is interesting. Shall I stop it and then start it again? Let's see what happens, shall we? Hold on. Let's see if that reconnects. There we go. Excellent connection, it says now. Hopefully that's all right. Right, where was I? Talking about women killing, wasn't I? I think my posh camera tonight is a little bit off. Sorry for that. Jim Speaker's in the chat saying, stream is struggling today, probably running hot. Yes, I imagine that the CPU is absolutely, fanning itself ridiculously. Like, aren't we all, guys? Aren't we all? But yes, I think if a woman's going to off you, I think she's less likely to be caught. I think women are more likely to pay somebody to run you over. I'll pay somebody to do the dirty job. I'll pay somebody to go out there and do it while I stay at home with a nice book, a glass of wine, and an alibi. I think that's what you're going to get more. So I think more women probably get away with it. I don't know if that 10% is accurate. Like if I pulled stats, guys, that said women killed as many of their useless or violent husbands as men kill women, it's just that they're smarter about it, so they escape conviction, would you even be that shocked? Would anybody be that surprised? I honestly don't know if I would be. But yes, I feel like when women kill, it's usually still kind of the guy's fault. Do you know what I mean? It's still like there's a guy involved somewhere that kind of made that happen. I don't think that's outrageous to say. Like if a woman kills her husband, chances are he was a domestic abuser. Like that's probably what happened. Or if a woman grows up to be a sociopath, it's because they were, messed around with when they were kids. Or he's just, if a woman kills a man, it's because he was an annoying fucker. Like, I don't want to victim blame. He was a bit annoying. Or maybe he's Greg Wallace. I don't know. I'm just saying. Lines of inquiry, working theories here. It's usually somewhere because a man was involved. Guys. And this is why we, as men, have to do what we can to stop these things from happening. This murderous shit that happens. As men, we've got to stop the things and stuff from happening, which is why I try to do my bit personally by point blank refusing to eat anything with mushrooms in it. Because you've got to do what you can, guys. You've got to play your part. Play a small part if you can. What else has been going on, guys? What else has been happening out there in newsland? The UK economy contracted this week. I don't know if you read about that this morning. Figures released today. Cheers, by the way. The UK economy contracted by 0.3% in the second quarter of the year. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Lord. What are we going to do? But it's not that, I wasn't that surprised. I don't know how you guys felt in the live chat. Were you surprised that the economy hasn't gone gangbusters and achieved 0.3% growth? Anybody surprised that the UK economy isn't going gangbusters? No? Okay. What with the tariffs coming into effect from overseas, from Donald Trump, Keir Starmer's best friend, slapping him with the tariffs. What with the total lack of growth. What with Brexit. But it's been funny seeing the figures come out this morning. It's been funny seeing all of the free market libertarians pretending that a small contraction is grounds to sack Rachel Reeves, our Chancellor, when only last year, only about 12 months ago, in fact, they were dismissing the same figures when it was on Rishi Sunak's watch as only a technical recession. I don't know if you remember that. Everyone's got a short-term memory these days. Can barely remember 24 or 48 hours outside of the current news cycle. But yeah, in 2024, small contraction. It's only a technical recession. Small contraction under Labour's watch. Rachel Reeves has to go. There can be no reason. There can be no understanding. Back last year, it was like Sunak is steering the ship through choppy waters. And really, it's only a modest contraction. They sang in the Telegraph and LBC and all the rest of them. But yeah, now it's a contraction with a red rosette on it. Suddenly, they've got a problem. None of them can mention the tariffs either, can they? It's like a boogeyman word. It's like saying Candyman 3 times or whatever. None of them can even mention it because they all love Trump, don't they? That's the reason. That's the actual reason they can't even discuss it. They all think he is the epitome of what they would love to achieve here. Right from the rounding up of the immigrants to the anti-woke cancellation of DEI, to the tax breaks for the rich, to the free marketism. And so even the contraction has got to actually kind of be at least a little bit caused by their boy Donny. They can't bring themselves to say it, can they? It's amazing. Really. For the things that they are so keen on, so drunk on, like Brexit and Trump. It's really quite weird that they really actually don't want to talk about those two things at all, regardless of how much of a huge fan of both of them they are. It's like secretly being the world's biggest Diddy fan or something, Like, imagine if you loved Diddy. Imagine if Diddy was your favorite rapper and you had posters up around your house of Diddy. You're always playing Diddy tracks in your car. But now, because of the way that things have turned out. Actually, now you would really kind of rather that nobody did bring up the conversation, the subject of Diddy, in polite company, to be quite honest. You'd rather you didn't bring it up. Thanks. Does that work as a metaphor? Not really, Aid. Okay, well, let's move on. Like, I was looking at some of the coverage of the economy earlier in the week, and it was full of shit like, if the population keeps growing, if net migration this, if the welfare state that, if people don't stop getting signed off as sick, we are going to grow to a point to such an extent that in 2 years, then blah, 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 right? It's that sort of mechanism. It's that journalistic device that they were wheeling out. If the population keeps growing, if net migration figures don't come down, if we don't stop the boats, then this is the impact that it's going to have on the welfare state. That was the vibe. That was the narrative. And so I thought, do you know what might be fun? Is if we were to take the same approach as the right-wing media do, with extrapolating it forward, but do it for tax avoidance, inequality, billionaire wealth, like what if these things continued at the same rate as they're going now? Because it's such a right-wing approach to look at the welfare state. and whether it can handle another 30,000 people or 1 million people if there isn't any growth or if we don't make cuts. You know, like, really, we should be looking at whether the Rees-Moggs and the Frank Hesters or the Dysons and the Richard Tices, like, what's going to happen to those in need if we continue to allow those guys the easy ride that they've enjoyed for the last, like, 10, 15 years, you know? What if the welfare state grows in? What we do is we take that same question, we just switch out the welfare for the wealthy, right? We work out what the effect is if we extrapolate it forward. So, here you go. Are you ready? Are you with me? People in the live chat, people on Spotify and Apple catching up later. Here we go, guys. Did you know that since 2020, billionaire wealth has grown by $3.3 trillion? Did you know that? How insane is that? Since 2020, billionaire wealth has grown by 3.3 trillion, not billion, trillion dollars, while real wages, according to studies, have either stagnated or fallen. And that's been true ways like before 2020, like all the way back to about 2010. Funny enough, exactly the same time as the Tories got in. So since 2010, wages have largely stagnated, if not fallen. But billionaire wealth has grown by $3.3 trillion since only 2020. So in terms of what you can buy with your salary each month, your buying power has gone. It's toast. It's done. While their buying power, the super rich, the super wealthy, has exploded. That is true. That is the state of affairs that we're dealing with. Okay? Oxfam did a study in 2024 which showed that billionaire wealth rose by $2.7 billion a day during the pandemic. So, what then happens if you take that forward over the next 5 years? What happens in the future if we don't do anything to stop that? Your wages will stagnate still, again, just like they have for the last 10, 15 years. And their buying power is going to explode even more so. And because that's going to hit assets, meaning houses, apartments, utility companies, train fares, all of that, everything is going to keep getting more and more expensive. That's what's going to happen if we don't fucking do something. Oxfam and the Tax Justice Network, I was going to say net worth there, it's going to fly off my tongue. Tax Justice Network, not net worth. Cheers. Stop for a little sip. Thanks very much to Pixel Rated Games, by the way, for dropping that that super chat in there. Thank you, man. Much appreciated. Don't know what happened there with my live stream. Get rid of that. Everything's going a little bit Pete Tong tonight with the old technology. Must be really hot. Where was I? Okay, so Oxfam did a study in 2024 that showed billionaire wealth rose by $2.7 billion a day during the pandemic. So your wages will stagnate. Their buying power will explode. It's going to hit out. Sorry, I said this, didn't I? Houses, apartments, utility companies, train fares, all of it will continue to get more expensive. Oxfam and the Tax Justice Network estimated that £35 billion a year is lost in the UK to tax avoidance. So even if you didn't solve inequality and ballooning billionaire wealth, you also have the problem of what the billionaires do, their jobs, and how much they're avoiding tax. And these guys are saying 35 billion a year. I've actually seen estimates that put it at nearer 100 billion pounds a year. So let's go it's somewhere in the middle, right? 75 billion, maybe. Now, what happens if you extrapolate that forward across the next 5 years? Even if it was 35, even if it's 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 150 billion pounds over the next parliament lost. What could you do with that money? What are we going to do if we don't have that money? If the situation of today continues and festers and rots and explodes into tomorrow, next year, and the next 5 years? If that continues, the HMRC will be starved of funds to support the welfare system. So forget the people getting signed off sick for a minute. Oh, we can't. This is unsustainable. We can't afford it. If these numbers keep growing, Aid, we can't afford the welfare system. Forget the people getting signed off. Forget all the people arriving on boats. Well, this is unsustainable. We can't have 20,000 people turning up. The population will grow. What about the boats, Aid? What about the sickies? What about the sick note culture? What are we going to do? Forget about all of that. If you solved tax avoidance and even just a little tickle of the bollies of billionaire wealth, you would have enough money. This is going to make you fucking weep. You would have enough money to double the NHS budget. I'm not lying. You could double the NHS budget. Nobody would be complaining about not getting to see a GP or how long it's been since they last saw their GP or places in a care home or the state of the care homes. You would have enough money to clear student debt. Like, no young people would be saddled with £70,000 of debt, which is ostensibly an extra tax on being young, being born in the wrong decade. Meanwhile, your mum and dad went to university for free and bought a house for like 20 quid. You could pay off everybody's student debt. You could build 500,000 new homes every year. You could fix the housing crisis like that. If billionaire wealth grows at the same rate as it's growing now, as it has grown over yacht sales, private jet sales, all the way up, if it continues to grow at the same rate as it has grown over the last 15 for the next 5 years, basically, if we continue to do nothing, it seems reasonable that food bank use will follow the same trajectory. And I was checking on Statista earlier, which, if you've not checked out Statista yet, I encourage you to go and give it a look. Really interesting factoid place. If ever you want to contextualize something you're talking about, it's got some really interesting charts on there. I was checking on there earlier. The number of parcels in food banks, right? The number of food bank parcels distributed to the general public has tripled in the last 10 years. So from 2015, 2016, up to 2025, the number of food bank parcels has times itself by 3. It's tripled. You know what tripled means, right? I didn't have to say that. So if inequality continues at the same pace, that's going to go from 3 million to 9 million parcels in the next decade. If we do nothing. What if people continue to get signed off sick? The welfare state wasn't meant for this, Aid. It's unsustainable. What if the wrong number of people keep jumping inside these dinghies? What if they keep rocking up on the shores, Aid? It's an invasion. It's not sustainable. The welfare state wasn't designed for this, Aid. What if we do nothing about ballooning inequality if it continues to follow the same trajectory as it has, and we're not doing anything to stop it now, so it stands to reason it will continue to follow that trajectory? Nobody's doing anything to stop it, are they? Food bank use will triple. Your buying power will tank. Houses will be bought off you and or your parents and rented out to your kids. Yeah, it's food for thought, isn't it? if not your family. Still. At least it's not a mushroom fucking beef Wellington, is it? Wait! Okay. Gareth's in the live chat. He's like, God, this is all so depressing. Well, you're on the right show for it, right? You're in the right place. Should we do a weird news story? We've got loads of time, haven't we? I'm just slightly worried about the... Oh, I see my son's in the chat. What's up? How you doing? It's a very glitchy connection tonight, little one. If you're wondering why I'm glitching and it's pausing. Bless him. Should we do a weird news story? Let's do a weird news story. Let's jump into it, shall we? So, oh, excuse me. Actually, I better check if I missed any. Oh, pixel rated gaming, is that right? Gamer. Hope everyone is keeping cool. Have a good one. Thank you, man. Tankashin. Keen to not miss the super chats there. I suppose it's as good a point as any to encourage anybody to sign up for the Patreon or join the channel. You might have noticed I'm somewhat less animated and shouty tonight. I'm desperately I'm trying to keep my voice down so I'm not disturbing my neighbours who are probably out in their garden enjoying the hot weather, right? It's a nice sunny summer evening. I don't want to, be shouting and dropping the F-bomb for them. So, a little bit less shouty, screamy tonight. Oh, man. Right, so, weird news story. Let's get into it. So, straight from the world of decline and the super rich buying up all the assets, this story feels appropriate. Like, if you're wanting a story that perfectly encapsulates the rich preying on the poor, on the decline, could you ask for a better one than the Cleveland financier come property investor who has put up a series of billboards with his smiling face, and the billboard just says, check this, I buy crack houses. That's what it, like, is this where we're at now? Is it? Is this where we're at, guys? We've got investors or property vultures, neighborhood vultures encircling the down and outs, haven't we? That's where we've arrived at. Like, imagine you're a crackhead. Imagine you personally are a crackhead, and the house that you're in Cleveland, Ohio, is the last thing that you own. Just imagine that's your deal, okay? You inherited it from your parents. You kind of, it's your home, You might not be on the up right now, but you got the house. You inherited it. You live there. Yes, it's a bit mucky. You're going through a hard time. You're having trouble with addictions or whatever, but at least you still got the house. And now you got this guy. Where is he? Now you got this guy dangling the carrot in front of you, haven't you? Like, it's just, yeah, I buy crack houses. How'd you like $200,000? How'd you like 200 G's would get you a nice sack of fentanyl, huh? Yes, I buy crack houses. Is his billboard. That's his marketing campaign, guys. Should we read a bit of it? Let's get into it, shall we? It says, billboard stating, yes, I buy crack houses, and your house is trash, I'll pay cash, have been appearing around Cleveland recently. Some neighbors say the messages are offensive. Yeah, no shit. Why he picked yes, I buy crack houses, we don't know, but it's in poor taste, a neighbor to the billboard near West 78th Street and Lorraine Avenue said. Businessman John Williams put up the billboards and claims he is investing in these homes to improve neighborhoods. Is he? Right, okay. Okay. I don't know how people could get it so confused, John. You're up there on a billboard, literally advertising how shit the place is. How did they, it's like real mixed messaging there. How did they catch the wrong end of that stick? Do you know what it's like? It's a bit like you trying to be the wingman for your mate. You know, he thinks you're going to big him up. You claim that you're bigging him up. But every time he gets talking to a girl, then you joke about his credit card debt or something. You don't want to mess with him. Oh, he's got 50 grand credit card. And then he pulls you off to the side. He's just like, why do you keep telling everyone? Like, I'm trying to get with a girl tonight. Why do you keep telling every single one of them about my debts? And you're like, I'm just trying to help. Just trying to... like, you're not helping. But yeah, so he claims he's just trying to, help spruce the place up a bit. He's trying to do you a favor, guys. Why can't you see that he's trying to help you? But I feel like this is what multi-millionaires always do, isn't it? Is they make it sound like they're helping, don't they? They make it sound like they're on your side. Like, I'll give you, of course I'll help you, plebby. I'll help you, you little pother, you little chimney sweep. Vote reform and we'll fix all of this for you. Of course we will. If you vote us in, if you make us Prime Minister and Chancellor, if you just let us leave the ECHR, then you smash cut to like a year down the line. You've lost all your employment rights and you're working every other weekend. You get no sick pay or holiday anymore. I'm totally here to make your life better. You can trust me. They always make it sound like they're trying to help you, don't they? Don't believe them, guys. They are the beneficiary of the ballooning inequality. I can't tell you this enough. Anyway, he says... what's he say? He says, what we do is buy homes. Generally that are dilapidated, abandoned. They are not occupied. Okay. No one is living in them, Williams said. What we do is we buy these properties, we fix up these homes, and then they are affordable housing, he says. Cleveland City Council President Blaine Griffin said the billboards are not a good way to do business in the community. He says, maybe it should be with some people that... maybe it should be with some people who are reputable, but not with somebody like this, coming to clearly make a mockery of our neighborhood. And I guess it's, it's like anything, isn't it? Like if the public sector don't step in, in this case, the Ohio state government, if they don't improve shit, if they don't invest in it themselves, then you get the private sector stepping in, trying to make money out of it to everybody else's detriment. So something essential like housing, you would expect the state to kind of assure that that is there and it's managed and it's provided. But if they fail in their duty to provide that, that's when you get the problems. If local government don't improve it, then you get the gentrification lot in. The big billboards say like, of course I'll buy your fucking shit heap, Masonette. I'll buy the whole street. And then you end up like, where's that really famous, iconic social housing estate in London? Where the fuck? It's not Brixton. It's near there though. It's Elephant and Castle, right? Don't know how many of you in the chat are familiar with Elephant and Castle in South London. But it's quite... the estate itself is like a big grey sort of, concrete, brutalist social housing estate. Been in loads of dramas and, movies and stuff. And a few years ago, they closed it down and they razed it to the ground. And communities, whole communities that had grown up and lived together, built communities, learned, loved each other, they all got turfed out. and rezoned to Yorkshire and Durham and, you know, wherever, like just places up north, hundreds of miles away from anyone that they know. Like that whole thing, man, that whole story should be, there should be an inquiry into that. It's such a fucking scandal. It really is. Like they knocked down this estate in Elephant and Castle. It was called, it's called the Haygate Estate. It's not far from where my missus grew up. They knocked it all down. They razed it to the ground. They turfed out all these people. They rezoned them to places hundreds of miles away. Take a wild fucking guess what they replaced it with. Take a wild guess, live chat. What was built in the place of the social housing, of which there's barely any left anyway? They were like, oh, we don't need this. We don't need to rebuild it. Take a wild guess. What is there now? Instead of social housing. PJ says bastards. But yeah, I mean, I've not met anyone that lives in this particular place that's replaced it. L Chaos is in the chat. She says Tesco. Is there a Tesco there? Probably. There's probably a Tesco in there somewhere. Cathal OG says, is that where the Ministry of Sound is or was? It probably is near there. I went for a job interview at the Ministry of Sound once. I'm just trying to remember. Is that like near Vauxhall? It's not far. It's definitely in that neck of the woods. Tommy Lee Cadden says Pizza Express. PJ says, go on, give us a clue. This will shock absolutely nobody, and you will kick yourself for not predicting it or suggesting it. Ashley Wilson's just dropped a tenner in the tip jar. Good show, 8. You're hotter than a spoon in a crack house this evening. I'll take that. Thank you. No, so they razed this place to the ground. The social housing is no longer there. The people were turfed out, shipped hundreds of miles away. What is there now? There is high-end luxury apartments. Guys, high-end luxury flats were built by an Australian property developer who probably donated to the Tory administration, who were in power when it was all greenlit. Only 82 out of the 3,000 flats were sidelined for social housing. Only 82. What does that even work out as? What is that? Let me get a calculator up. Hold on. .7% of the housing was safeguarded as social housing. And I don't know how familiar you are with some of these developments, these high-end developments where they do actually allocate a very, very tiny percentage for social housing, but they also make the tenants of those flats walk through a different door. They don't get access to this or that or the other. They have to walk through a poor person's door so that never the twain shall meet. They can't possibly rub shoulders with the affluent people, with the curtain twitchers, with the latte drinkers. This is what I mean. It's a scandal, isn't it? This weird sort of poverty segregation that's going on. This economical cleansing, I guess you could call it. So they knocked him down. They built the high-end ones, 82 out of nearly 3,000 flats. So 2.7% remained social. And then out of the remainder, this is the real kicker, out of the remainder of them, only 25% of the rest of them, so pretty much 3,000, only 25% of that 3,000 were even designated as affordable or like price constricted or tempered. And even affordable, here's the kicker to the kicker, even affordable was redefined by the Conservatives. So like the definition was changed officially to meaning 80% of whatever the market value is. So it's not even affordable. Like if you're in London, like the actual market rate for these flats, I was looking at them earlier. The actual market rate for these, and this was a couple of years ago, they wrote the article on it, is like £900,000 for a 2-bed in this thing. So what is like 80% of 900,000? Here we go. I'll get the old calculator up. Tune in to Aid Thompson on Friday night for Maths Live. 900,000 times... Oh, shit. 900,000 times 0.8 is still 722,000. So it's not affordable. It's not like... What is the average salary in that part of London, in South London? Like, I know there's a lot of professionals. I know there's a lot of, like, blue chip workers and software engineers and stuff. But the average salary... I mean, I suppose it would have bumped up a bit now that they've turfed out the social housing. I mean, I'm not... it's dark. I know it's dark. But it would have lifted up the average salary. So, I don't know. But yeah, there's no way that 720 grand is affordable. I don't care how you redefine affordable to make it a little bit more palatable to your property developer donor, which is obvious. It's definitely what has happened here. I don't know. Let's go back to the live chat. What do you guys make of it? I used to be sort of reasonably ignorant about this stuff. I used to be like, well, if you can't afford a flat in London, then you can't afford the flat, and you got to go somewhere where you can afford a flat, because welfare is a safety net. It's there to protect you from hitting the bottom and from falling through the cracks and ending up in a sort of Victorian deprivation kind of situation. But the older I get, and I suppose this is it's not very funny, but, just an observation, bit of a reflection. I suppose the older you get, part of growing is, being more aware socially. And, now I'm infinitely more aware of how people, they create these relationships. Their entire life, family and networks is just rooted in these big concrete buildings that they've always been in. And I don't know if any of you have had a similar experience as I've had. Not that my experience is anywhere near like in parallel to what people have gone through with this sort of stuff. But I have moved away. I moved away from my hometown up to London, and I moved away from the UK to Australia for a bit, and I moved away from London out here to Hampshire. And when you've gone through that sort of stuff, you become, I think, more acutely aware of what it means to completely like unstick yourself from your network, from your friends, from your family, from your extended family, from the people you went to university with. To actually go it alone is really like psychologically quite testing. So to do that en masse to hundreds, if not thousands of families speaks to a level of callousness, I think. Because none of these people are like spring chickens. They haven't got youthful folly on their side. They're all in their like 50s and 60s. So they must have lived and learned the same lessons that the rest of us have. They just don't give a fuck. I've just missed a super chat from Ashley. Let me just quickly go. Ashley says, the only thing more brutalist than the old Elephant and Castle is the new one. Yeah, you're not kidding. It's, we've gone from brutalist to just brutal, haven't we? Right, I'm going to wrap it up here, and we'll try and stay on for a little bit of Q&A. If you guys are up for sticking about. PJ's saying, you lived in Australia? Yeah, I went over there with a friend when I was, like 22, I think. We did the old Thailand to Sydney, and then we bought a camper van. We drove up the Gold Coast, went down to Melbourne. I've got some family out there, stayed with some cousins. And, yeah, it was good. Went right up to Cairns, back down again. I was really pleased to be home, though. Like, I was... I became really aware of how hard it is to just make friends, like, off the cuff, like, completely cold. You become really aware of how many of your friends you met through other existing friends. So I found it socially quite tricky out there. So I was really pleased to get back home. Felt like a rock star when I first walked into the pub. When I came, I was like, I'm back! Everyone's like, yeah! Never felt so loved my entire life. Anyway, guys, This has been fun. I'm sorry if I've been a little bit quieter, a little bit more subdued than perhaps I ordinarily would be. I appreciate you coming round, though. Coming round? Hanging out? Checking in? You know, all the other ways of saying that. I'm going to stick around for the lock-in, for the Q&A now. But if you are watching on Catch Up, or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts at a later bit, then we shall wind it up here. Otherwise, let's keep this party going, guys. Right, how do I get my lock-in going? Here we go. Where's the